Happy Friday to you all. Welcome out to Truckee, California. We're at the 2024 Barracuda Championship. This is a special hour-long edition of NSN Tonight. Thanks to our sponsors, Legends Bay Casino and Circus Sports here on our mobile studio. He's Chris Murray. I'm Alex Margulies. Chris, it's already been a great start to the weekend. And one thing that's been very fascinating to watch take place has been the impact of the tournament deciding to flip-flop the nines.
Yeah.
And we are seeing higher scores as a result of that.
Yeah, so the record for this tournament is 50 points since they went to the system 2012. I think that could be threatened, and I think flipping the nines, that will make things more interesting on Sunday in the back nine. That was the whole point of this. You look just at the first round, those first 9 holes, which used to be the back nine, only 2 of those played under par in the first round. 7 of the 9 back hole nines played under par. So on the front nine, 0.26 strokes over par. On the back nine, 1.23 strokes under par. If that continues through the weekend, I think you could see some fireworks late. But yeah, I mean, the players out here have been great so far. The leader as we speak right now, 26 points. As we mentioned, the record is 50. The first round leader was Ben Silverman. He had 19 points. That was a huge tournament effort for him. And I think this tournament is for guys like that. This guy's a 36-year-old from Canada, 19 PGA Tour events this year, no top 10s. But of course, the big carrot, if you win this tournament, 2-year exemption on the PGA Tour. So, it'll be fun to see exactly who does come out on top, but I do think we have seen some really good scoring so far.
Yeah, that is one of the cool things about the Barracuda Championship is oftentimes it is a tournament that produces a first-time winner, and it could either be someone who's on the younger side of things, a guy that is kind of just making his way onto the PGA Tour, like Colin Morikawa a few years ago, or you might see someone that's grinded their way on the PGA Tour for 8, 9, 10 years. And then this is the tournament that will help cement their place on the tour and give them that exemption status that they are all craving. And a lot of guys on this tour are here fighting for some of those exemption spots. In terms of what we've got lined up for you on today's show, we're going to chat with a couple of the competitors here this weekend and a couple guys, Chris, that are making a push into the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun to catch up and learn some of these guys' stories. Obviously, we'll talk about their rounds. We're going to have a couple interviews with you today. Taylor Pendrith, he's from Canada. He was on the Canadian Tour for a good while, and now he's having by far the best season of his career. He's a top 60 player in the world, top 40 in the FedEx Cup points. And then we're going to have Rico Hoey, who, another kid, he's actually pretty young, 28 years old, originally born in the Philippines, was a runner-up last week, was in a 5-way playoff for that PGA Tour stop. He overcame a lot of injuries, actually almost quit the sport. So, obviously, a lot of these guys want to be at the British Open, but this is a great opportunity to get out here and see if they can win their first PGA Tour event and make a memory at this place. I think you talk to any player, they love the area, they love the course, and certainly if they're playing well, they're going to have really good feelings about the tournament.
All right, so the longtime tournament director of the Barracuda Championship is Chris Hoff, certainly a familiar face on the program. We chatted with him this morning about how things are going so far at this 2024 version.
Chris, thanks so much for taking some time to join us, because I can imagine this is a crazy busy week for you. What does it consist of?
Early mornings and late nights, a lot of work in between. We had a great start of the week with a couple of pro-ams, and then on Thursday we kind of hand everything inside the ropes over to the PGA Tour, and we focus on everything outside the ropes with our fans and sponsors and volunteers.
As soon as this thing ends on Sunday, how quick are you turning around and getting ready for 2025?
Well, we started on 2025 probably a couple of months ago.
Wow.
We're usually about a 14 or 15 month cycle. So we're already looking at things, with flipping the nines, we don't really know how it's going to go until it goes. And so we've already started to see some things that we want to tweak and make better for 25.
Okay, tell us the motivation behind flipping the nines. 9 is now behind us instead of 18, but this allows for some excitement and some good exposure too.
Yeah, it started out as doing it for a different reason, and the more we got into it, the more positives we started to see by having the front 9 now be our back 9. We didn't really lose much space for hospitality around the new 18. Our valet parking for our sponsors is now 75 yards maybe from their venues. Our spectators are being dropped off on the 18th hole. From a competition standpoint, with the Stableford format, we've now got 2 par 5s, so 2 great looks at eagle perhaps. We've got a drivable par 4 on 17, and then the signature hole of the golf course, which is now our 15th hole, will be on TV all 4 days, so we're thrilled.
Man, the field out here is impressive. And one of those kids out of Galena High School, Ian Gilligan, his first PGA Tour event, he got the exemption. He's from Reno. This is just all good all around.
Yeah, that was a fun phone call to make. And, he got out here actually he was here on Sunday hitting some balls. He got out here Monday. It's great to see him and his family out here, and he had a pretty good round yesterday.
Yes, he did. 5 years out at Old Greenwood. I'm sure it's went by fast. What has that partnership been like? And I can imagine it's going to continue.
Yeah, it's been great up here. Everyone from ownership on down. They have an incredible superintendent that gets this place. I mean, they're only open 4 or 5 months a year, and you're really dependent on what happens during the winter. And they came out of winter in great shape. And Joe's got the golf course in fantastic shape.
If the scoreboard after one round is any indication, this could be a really dramatic weekend at the Barracuda Championship. Your pitch to folks who are watching this and thinking, hey, maybe I make the trip up to Truckee over the weekend.
Yeah, when you look at the thermostat and it says 102 or whatever it is in Reno, come on up to the mountains. We'll probably be in the low 90s. You can't beat these views.
What is the most gratifying part of the Barracuda Championship for you each year?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I think seeing all the volunteers that we have out here, close to 700, and seeing some of our charity partners out here, being able to experience it, and some of the proceeds that we're able to give back to those groups. There's so many rewarding things, and the fact that we get to call this work is pretty cool.
I feel the same way. How's the golf game these days?
Unfortunately, kind of non-existent.
Yeah.
I think I've played 2 or 3 rounds maybe this year. So hopefully after the tournament, we'll get some time to get out here.
Yeah, you're going to have to give yourself a break after what's going to be another heck of a weekend at the Barracuda. Anything else you got for the folks out there while we have you?
Yeah, just, come on out for a great event. We've got 156 of literally the best golfers in the world. We've got 50 guys from the DP World Tour. I don't know how many countries we got represented here, but it's a lot. And every single one of these guys is an incredible talent. So come on out for a great time.
Well, I have fond memories as a kid going to the Reno Tahoe Open out at Montreux, and not every town and every area gets a PGA Tour event. We really cannot take this for granted.
No, there's only, I think, 42 or 43 of these around the country. And, we're probably one of the smallest markets to have one, so it's pretty special.
Chris Hoff, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Mike Stephenson for that with Chris Hoff. And one of the topics of conversation there we heard was about Ian Gilligan, who we did have on the show Thursday. You can find that interview online at NevadaSportsNet.com. He was in the early tee times on Thursday, Chris, and did a great job. He fired off 5 birdies on the back 9, finished with 8 points, and got himself in line to make a cut as an amateur, getting this sponsor's exemption. We are taping the show in the afternoon on Friday, and Ian was one of the last players to go out in Friday's round. He teed off at 212, so uncertain as to the current status of his play, but certainly an impressive showing for a young man that we got to kind of document his journey, but a cancer survivor, Galena High School graduate, one of the top high school golfers in the area, played down in Southern California, then transferred to the University of Florida, where he has continued to hone in on his skills, and he actually was pretty impressive on the long drive yesterday.
Yeah, 392 yards. You'd think that'd be the longest. Actually tied for the 10th longest. So someone out there is hitting it 400 yards, but a 21-year-old piping a 392-yard drive.
How is that only top 10? That's crazy.
That is very crazy.
I mean, we're at elevation, but still.
and it's fairly hot out here, which makes the ball's going even longer. But it was very impressive to see what he did. We talked about, the back 9 being the softer of the two. You can be really fortuitous. You could be a little bit more aggressive.
Yep.
He took advantage of that. 5 birdies on the back 9, 4 in a row, and that puts him in a really good spot as he tees off today to make that cut. The cut line probably going to be somewhere around 10 or 11 points, so he doesn't have to go crazy if he goes and shoots.
So that's to be consistent.
Yeah, something like a 69. He should be all right to move into the weekend. Obviously, he's an amateur, got 1 more year of golf at Florida, so whatever he does this weekend, he's not cashing any checks. But to be able to say you made a PGA Tour cut at age 21 potentially, you got to prove something to yourself if you go and do that. He said on our desk yesterday that he proved something to himself yesterday. So, he gets to play in October down in Las Vegas, another PGA Tour event, because he won the Southern Highlands Classic in college this year. So each of these experiences, they build on each other. No matter how good of a golfer you are, you probably don't know whether you can do it until you step on tour and you do it. and this guy is showing that he can do it. So yeah, an absolutely phenomenal story, and obviously we're hoping that he gets to play on the weekend and rooting for him to put forward a great effort. He's staying at home with mom and dad at Arrow Creek, so that's kind of a fun story as well. Didn't have to get up quite so early today with that later tee time.
It is always a treat when we get one of our local players to get to compete in this. A few years ago, we've seen Ollie Osborne out here, who went to Bishop Minogue and grew up playing at Montreux, and to see him get to play in the Barracuda Championship. A lot of University of Nevada golfers over the years, but Gilligan is somebody that we kind of felt like was going to have this opportunity at some point. Was it going to come this year? We weren't certain that it was going to come here in 2024, but it looks like it was a good decision to give him this chance, as he has more than held his own so far. So obviously, at the time of this taping, we don't have that final finish for Ian, but we do have more coverage coming up for you on NBC. So if you want to check out our show on News 4, we'll have a report tonight at 11, and we can give you the latest about Ian Gilligan and get you set up for the Barracuda Championship weekend. Lots more to come here on today's show. We're going to eventually step away from some golf. We'll actually get into a feature about Jordan Lawlar, who has been compared to Derek Jeter, that kind of skills when it comes to this Reno Aces infielder. Also, the Olympics are just around the corner. We've got a slew of locals getting ready to compete in Paris. We will go through all of that. Coming up next, we're going to chat with one of the leaders here at the Barracuda Championship. Our coverage from Old Greenwood rolls on next. Welcome back to Old Greenwood. Our coverage of the 2024 Barracuda Championship rolls on. We've got Taylor Pendrith joining us here on the desk. Great day, number 2, heading into the weekend right now. At the time of taping this show, you're in the top 2 at 24 points. Had a nice little start to your round with an eagle on your second hole. I'm sure that did some things to kind of set you on the right path today, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I got off to a great start. Bogeyed the first, which wasn't ideal, but the side that I started on, the back 9, I guess, is the more scoreable 9. So, I knew there were some birdie chances and was able to capitalize on that, and kind of stalled out a little bit on my backside. But I'm sitting in a good position going in the weekend.
12 your magic number, 12 points yesterday, 12 points today, and that, like you said, puts you in really good position. This is your 4th time at this course in this tournament. You got 2 top 15, so I guess, what is it about this course you like, the scoring system, maybe just this area?
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. My family's here with me, so we're having a really good time here. But yeah, I've always loved it. The first time I came here, had a good finish, and it's a unique format. We get to play it once a year, and kind of rewards aggressive play. So you make as many birdies as you can, and I really enjoy it. It sets up well for my game, and I've got some good vibes here for sure, and hopefully keep it going.
All right, so you're from Canada, the Toronto area, spent several years on the Canadian Tour, which I know, at least on the PGA Tour, there's not a ton of high elevation mountain golf, but it sounds like on the Canadian Tour, you were able to kind of get prepared with some environments that would be pretty similar to this.
Yeah, definitely. We've played, a couple times in Calgary where it's elevation, but it's tricky, definitely tricky, especially in the morning when it's cold.
Yeah.
And then you're just adjusting on the fly. So
that's really what it is adjusting your shots based on what is the carry going to be, because when the temperature, the elevation, those are two things that you guys are constantly having to calculate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like yesterday we played pretty much 10% all day, and this morning we were playing 0 when I started, and moved up to 5, and then 7, and then 10 by the end of the round. So it makes it interesting for sure. It's nicer when it's a constant temperature, and you know exactly how far the ball's going. But it makes it fun. If you can hit it higher, it's going to go further as well. So it's always great time playing
match
elevation.
The launch angle with the temperature with the elevation. There's a lot of math out here.
Oh yeah, lots
when
of
you're
math.
playing golf out here.
Good thing my caddy's good at it.
So you went to Kent State. It wasn't like you went from college onto the tour. You've had to grind to get to this point, but a great season for you. You're top 40 in the FedEx Cup points. You got your first tour win at the Byron Nelson. I guess, what has this season meant to your career and maybe proved to yourself?
Yeah, it's I've obviously had a great year. And to get my first win felt amazing. This is my 9th or 10th year as a pro, and my 3rd year on the PGA Tour. So to finally get here is a great feeling, and to be a winner now is amazing. It's something that I've worked really hard to get to this point, and hopefully keep going and have a chance this weekend.
Taylor, take us back to winning at the Byron Nelson. What do you remember about that weekend? And I'm sure the blur of getting to hoist a trophy and finally kind of getting that taste of success at the top level of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I remember it all happened very quickly, so it is a little bit of a blur, but yeah, I played great golf that week, and wasn't having my best season up until a few weeks prior to that event, so knew I was playing good, and put myself in a really good position moving into the weekend that week, and I was able to get it done and birdie the last hole to win, and it just gives you a lot of confidence, moving forward, and to, I know I'm obviously good at golf, but you don't know how good you are and don't know if you'll ever win, so to get that first one was an amazing feeling.
And a 2-year exemption to boot.
That's right.
Some struggles to start your year, as you mentioned, but there was that turning point. You did really well at the U.S. Open, a top 20. I guess what was the turning point? What kind of turned your season around to see so much success over the last couple months?
A little bit of everything. I was battling a shoulder injury for the past 2 years, so the body's feeling better, and just a little bit of confidence. I was not playing great mid-season, I guess, and then started feeling healthier and swinging harder and kind of how I used to play golf, and so yeah, a little bit of confidence goes a long way, and obviously to get that win is a huge boost, and I played in some bigger events right after that and played well, so kind of set myself up for a late season push, and hopefully finish off well.
Take us through the grinds, that it's been. I was, kind of looking back at your bio, and I saw you had made basically your professional debut in Canada back in like the 2013, 2014 year. So you're talking about a decade of professional golf, and now you're getting that ultimate success now 10 years later. Take me through like the trials and tribulations and the mental fortitude, the physical fortitude, the emotional fortitude that you have to have as a professional golfer to get through those kind of 10 years.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of patience. I think everybody's path is different. I've got a lot of friends who, spent 1 or 2 years on the mini tours and right to the PGA Tour. And for me, I was a 30-year-old rookie. So I would rather be a 30-year-old rookie than not ever be a rookie. Yeah. So I'll take it. But yeah, it's been a battle. I've played some really good golf on the lower tours and been up and down a few times. And 2019 was, for me, I guess kind of changed things. I played really good on the Mackenzie Tour and got my Corn Ferry card again, and then had a really good 2 seasons up there, and ultimately got me out here. So, but yeah, it's a battle. It's a grind. There's so many good players in the world. And, you got to play well at the right times.
You're certainly one of them now, top 60 in the world golf rankings, which is a great accomplishment. And talking about the world scene, you did play in the President's Cup in 2022. In the mix this year, it is in Montreal, so in Canada. Mike Weir, Canadian, is the coach of the international team. I guess what would it mean to you to be able to tee it up in your home country and play for Team Canada and Team International for the President's Cup this year?
Yeah, it'd be unbelievable. That golf course was my first PGA Tour event as an amateur. So it's, it would be very cool to get back there, but to get a taste of it 2 years ago in Charlotte, it was a huge goal of mine at the beginning of the season to be in the mix to make that team, and I'm right there towards the end of the year, so I'm going to need a few good weeks for sure coming in, but to play in Canada in front of the home fans under Mike Weir would be awesome.
All right, 2 rounds in the books here at the Barracuda Championship, and Taylor Pendrith, one of the leaders going into the weekend. Best of luck out there. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so we've got much more coverage coming up from Old Greenwood just after this quick break. Welcome back to our special edition of NSN Tonight from the 2024 Barracuda Championship. Stepping out of our golf coverage to talk a little bit about the Reno Aces. And one of the star players that's considered one of the best prospects in all of minor league baseball is Jordan Lawlar. It's been an up and down season for him battling injuries, but he has an incredible backstory. Zach Larson has his story.
The Arizona Diamondbacks select Jordan Lawlar.
What a talented young man this is. Crazy talent, ton of speed. Jordan Lawlar, low throw. What a play by the kid. Welcome back, Jordan Lawlar.
It didn't take long for Jordan Lawlar to live up to the hype. going from the 6th overall pick in 2021 to the big leagues just 2 years later.
Handed by Candelario, low throw, and Lawlar's aboard. Jordan Lawlar has his first major league hit.
It was awesome. It was unbelievable. It was everything dreamed of and more.
The young Phenom's first season with the Arizona Diamondbacks also ending with the National League Championship.
And the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series.
To be able to kind of be with the team every step of the way, and then to be blessed with the opportunity to play in the World Series, it really doesn't get much better than that. Picture perfect.
But the rise of the 21-year-old shortstop is just beginning. Lawlar flew through the minor league ranks, making it to AAA with the Reno Aces last season. After a March thumb injury and 2 months of recovery, Lawlar coming back to the biggest little city in June, finishing a triple short of the cycle in his return.
Line to center, a base hit.
He's an all-around complete player. He's a special player. You can pick him out on the field. Like he looks different. It's the way he carries himself. It's the way he plays the game. It's the way he speaks. He's just a really impressive young man.
A young man filled with so much promise and potential, but also multiple setbacks in the form of injuries. Through it all, one person has been by his side, his mom.
To watch just the continual growth of him and to see the excitement and to hear him when he calls me to walk through a few things, it's really incredible and just rewarding.
Living in Dallas, Texas, Hope Lawlar raised Jordan as a single mom.
I would put bucket after bucket, 5-gallon buckets of balls on a tee pretty much every night when he was young, and we would work through that. So that would be hours and hours, and our rule was always that he had to end on a really great, whether it was a hit, a catch, whatever it was, he had to end it well.
Lawlar signed with Arizona out of high school, opting not to play college ball at Vanderbilt, and instead agreeing to a then franchise record $6.7 million signing bonus. With every milestone along the way, he has his mom to thank for it all.
She shaped me into the man I am today. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. All the sacrifices she was able to make, was missing kind of the weekend tournaments, sending me with some of my teammates and their families. I'll never be able to repay her for all the sacrifices.
Staying tight from afar, Hope and Jordan have a game day tradition.
There's a text that gets sent before every game. She'll send me something, I'll respond, and I'll kind of go out there and start playing. It's the same thing every time, yeah. I do not know.
The best thing I could do is just send him a little something, and something that we always keep to ourselves between us, because I think it's a very special thing. But I always felt like if there was just something I could send him, so if he had that moment, he could glance at it, look at it, and just know, I mean, truly, I'm proud of him no matter what.
As a top 10 prospect in all of baseball, the pressure to succeed is there. Scouts even comparing Lawlar to one of the greatest shortstops of all time, Derek Jeter, a player he idolized growing up.
I love it. I embrace it. Yeah, that's somebody I always looked up to, and to be watching somebody that looks like you doing exactly what you want to do at the highest level at a very successful clip is everything I want to be and more.
Jordan Lawlar got him.
No matter what happens, one thing is for certain: his biggest fan will always be there.
If they're on, I'm watching him. Even though he's not playing right now, I still watch him because I feel it's still part of the team, right? So I try to watch both. If I can watch the major league or the minor league, whichever one he's a part of. Like I said, we text before and I get the text after. So, I'm a part of it always.
All right, great job again on that by Zach Larson, who normally is behind the scenes as our producer of this show. He's right behind the tent right now with Rez, but stepping out, doing a little reporting there. Reminder, Aces All In, the next episode on the 26th at 5:30, and the team will be back in town on Tuesday. Making the comparison to Derek Jeter for Jordan Lawlar, that is very big shoes to kind of have that sort of expectation, but this kid's pretty special.
Yeah, just go out and be a Hall of Famer and have top 10 career hits in MLB history. That's the expectation.
That's the ceiling? Okay.
I mean, he was in the World Series at age 21. Now, a very unfortunate season this year. He's only played a handful of games. He actually tore UCL on his thumb at the end of spring training. That took a couple of months to rehab, and then he comes here to Reno, has a great first game, and injures his hamstring. Recently re-injured as well, so it's kind of a lost season, but the guy just turned 22, so I know this has been a disappointing campaign for him, but he has that all-around game, and if you talk to people in the Aces organization, he also has that it factor, where it just seems like it maybe comes
just
a little bit easier for him. So, hopefully healthy next year, maybe he can make a push toward the end of this year and make an impact with the Aces and the Diamondbacks, but yeah, not the kind of year he was looking looking for. But, when you're a top 10 prospect in the game, it doesn't mean you're a sure thing. Things happen in this sport, but a very, very talented player. And this is a guy who could potentially be an all-star in the future at the big league level.
All right. For more coverage of the Aces, of course, you can find that on our website at nevadasportsnet.com. We'll have more coming up from our special edition of NSN Tonight from Old Greenwood in Truckee right after this. Back here on NSN Tonight from the 2024 Barracuda Championship, Rico Hoey has joined us here on the Legends Bay Casino desk, brought to you by Circus Sports. Pretty impressive day out there on the course, 19 points. Man, you were humming there for a while, bogey-free until you had a double there late, but you had an eagle mixed in. I mean, it was firing today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yesterday was kind of a slow round, so I knew I had to get hot today, and front nine, shot 5 under, and just kept it rolling through there. And just a little hiccup, but I felt the heat. I'm not gonna lie. 59 popped in my head, but it's all good. I'll take 8 under any day.
I was going to ask about
Stableford, right? So scoring, what was it, 63?
63.
63.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an impressive round.
We still would, if you shot a 59, we still would have called it a 59. We wouldn't have said like 24 points. That doesn't mean anything.
I'll take it too. I would have said it too.
That does pop into your mind though, because basically with 3 holes left, you get 2 birdies in the last 3. You shot a 59.
Yeah.
Have you ever shot in the 50s before? That's pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done it, so of course it's gonna pop in my head, but it's super cool. Yeah.
First season on the PGA Tour, you've had a chance to play in some events, but you finished in the top 5 last year on the Corn Ferry Tour, and that got you your tour card for this year. I mean, how much fun are you having just getting this opportunity after grinding, to get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool. I mean, sometimes I got to pinch myself because, I'm I remember warming up at the Valero Open and Rory McIlroy's on the putting green, and I'm like, what am I doing? But I have to remind myself that I earned it out here, and it's just super cool. I mean, being out here and Lake Tahoe, it's just super fun, so I can't complain.
You've been through a lot. I mean, you played for USC, very good player, but you had an injury that might have ended your career at one point. So I guess how do you look at just being 28 on the PGA Tour, everything you've been through? How do you, put that into perspective of what you get to do for a living?
Yeah, I mean, this not even a job for me. It's a dream to be out here. So I mean, to be 28 years old, and I like to say I'm fairly young, but I mean the guys that I played with this week, they're a lot younger than me. So I felt old, but being 28, going through what I've gone through, it's just a blessing that I'm here. I just I can't take anything for granted. That's what I'm doing every week.
Talk about just the mental grind that you have to go through as a golfer. I mean, I imagine there are several times in your career you probably were like, I got to just hang it. Why keep going? I mean, how do you gonna have that persistence to kind of get to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, I think every golfer out here is, it's almost like what my girlfriend tells me. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like we always say, we're going to quit, we're going to hang it up.
Right.
Yeah, but, I think just moments like being out here and playing well and, it makes up for that. I think we're all chasing that, great shot or great score, and that keeps me going, so.
Your perseverance obviously has paid off. So you were in a 5-way playoff on last week's PGA Tour stop. Didn't quite get the win, but what did you take from that experience being in the mix on a Sunday in a tour event?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I was so nervous. I was before the start of the round, I was telling my caddy, I think I'm going to yak, but just taking out after that week, I feel like I belong out here. Not saying that I have all the answers, but I feel like I'm working my way to be the best, and that's all I want to do. So.
All right, so we mentioned you had a phenomenal round today at the time of this taping, the top round of round number 2, and you'll be in the mix in the top 10 going into the weekend potentially. What do you like the most about this golf course? Why did it kind of lend itself to you being able to fire off a 63?
I think just the format is super cool. We don't get it at all the whole year, and so this time of year everyone's just trying to fire birdies and eagles. And I think for me, being somewhat of an aggressive player, I think I had an advantage today of just going out there and just trying to fire as many birdies as I can. So I'm going to keep having the same plan for this weekend and hopefully get the W.
Let's talk a little bit about your backstory. You were born in Manila, moved to the United States around 4. You had 2 sisters who played at Long Beach State. They were all conference players as well. So why golf so big in the family?
I don't know. I mean, I think, look at me. I'm not really the most athletic, and but my sisters are pretty athletic. But I think we just got hooked on it. My grandparents played, my parents played, and so we just followed around and whacked it around, and we had a good time. So.
All right, Chris, I know you guys were swapping like a little bit of Filipino recipes, and your wife is from the Philippines as well, and I heard you were telling a story about cooking, and you're only allowed to cut the carrots. Is that
so? Like lumpia is a pretty well-known Filipino.
That's like the fried,
it's like an egg roll,
kind of thin.
So whenever we'll make it on occasion, and I'll say we made it, and my contribution is usually kind of just shaving down the carrots. It's a pretty long process. You got to roll it and all. You haven't been involved in the rolling process?
No, I'm more of the guy who eats it. I'm always lurking in the back when my parents saying don't eat it. I'm eating it in the back, sneaking one and two or so. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to visit the Philippines?
Yeah, I haven't been back since 2013, but I'd love to get back.
Okay, so have you heard it? There's like a chicken egg thing. You know what I'm talking about? Balut.
Yeah, balut.
Have you ever heard of this? It's like in the Philippines, it's kind of like a delicacy where you basically eat like a chicken's egg that's like somewhere between being an egg and like a chicken. So it's like an egg-chicken hybrid, and when you eat it, it's kind of crunchy, and there's like feathers in it and stuff. It's like eating like a not quite developed chicken. But I had a friend who's his family from the Philippines. He was always telling me, like, you go to the Philippines, you eat balut. It's like, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but that always kind of stuck out as like a pretty wild thing. Have you ever tried it?
No. I like to eat, but that kind of scares me a little bit.
I know you kind of tinkered with your, I guess, nationality eligibility stuff to maybe try and make the Olympics this year. I guess what would it mean to represent the Philippines either in the President's Cup or in an Olympics in the future, and have that flag on your hat?
I think it's super cool. I mean, it'd just be an honor to make the Olympics and make the President's Cup. I mean, the Philippines is there's a lot of great golfers out there, and just for me to come out here and try to represent them as well as I can, it means a lot. And it would just be a dream, and hopefully I could inspire other golfers from the Philippines to come out and play out here and be the best that they can be.
Looking at the ears, so I did see on the bio you got your ears pierced at Claire's. That's a true story?
Made the bio.
Yeah, you're not wearing the studs, but your mom made you get your ears pierced at Claire's. Is that a true story?
Yes, it was a bet. It was a stupid bet. It was not even a bet. It was like a bluff. I told my mom one day, I was, I don't know, in second grade, like, hey mom, what if I got my ears pierced? And she kind of like sat down and she's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, no, please don't. I'm like sitting there, and it was.
Claire's is underrated.
Do they ever?
They did a great job.
Now that it's on your bio, does that happen? Like when you're putting, is like, okay, Rico is getting ready for an 18-foot putt. He once had his ears pierced at Claire's. Does that ever come up like on the broadcast?
They should. I mean, I feel like that'd get a lot more viewership. So yeah.
Rico, Hoey, congrats on a great first couple of days. Congrats on making the cut, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
All right, more of our special coverage from the Barracuda Championship NSN Tonight rolls on right after this.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, hanging out here with Christian Meza from Folds of Honor. It is a special day at the Barracuda, Folds of Honor Friday. Tell us about Folds of Honor.
Folds of Honor is a national military first responder nonprofit that has a mission to provide educational scholarships to the children and spouses of our U.S. military and first responders.
And this is over, 17 years, a lot of money given out, a ton of scholarships. Tell us about the impact.
Yep. Since 2007, Folds of Honor has given away 52,000 scholarships, and that's $244 million in educational impact to very much needed families.
So this year, new is a deal with the PGA Tour. So what does Folds of Honor Friday consist of here at the Barracuda?
Folds of Honor Friday is a patriotic touch to select PGA Tour events where we are bringing the spirit of America and the support to our first responders and military by wearing red, white, and blue on the course. So we're asking all fans, players, sponsors to wear your patriotism, wear your red, white, and blue, and show that love on the course.
And another thing is they're playing the national anthem, which is huge. You don't always get that. You never get that at a PGA Tour event, but you get it at a lot of other sporting events. And so Folds of Honor making that happen here at the Barracuda. How did this all begin?
This all began through Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney. He had a mission to make this happen. He's a professional golfer himself on top of being an F-16 fighter pilot. So, his love for the game has transitioned to the national anthem of golf and bringing that to the tour and select tour events. And in doing so, not only is the national anthem being played, but also 13 scholarships will be given away through this initiative. This is bridging a very important gap as we're experiencing a 45% increase in applications year over year. So we have a big need to meet and fulfill, and that's how we're doing it.
You guys are serving it out here in Truckee, and of course, you had that need at one point. Tell us about your story a little bit.
Yep, I unexpectedly lost my father in 2016. He served 30 years in the U.S. Air Force, 7 combat tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. In 2016, he unexpectedly passed away to a post-traumatic seizure, which was essentially a bad dream that resulted in a heart attack in his sleep. So this was from the time I was transitioning from high school to college. I sat with my mom and we looked for any type of scholarship information we could find. And that's when Folds of Honor stepped into the shoes of my father, granted me the educational scholarship that I needed to go to school. And here I am as a university graduate and working for Folds of Honor, and very proud to do it.
It says everything that you were once a recipient and now you're working for this organization. Just tell us about just the momentum you guys have and what the future holds.
Yeah, Folds of Honor is, we expanded into first responders last September. So it's a very big initiative that we need to fill. Like I said, 45% increase in applications year over year. We're expecting 5,000 scholarships to go unmet this year. So it's through this partnership with the PGA Tour and this initiative that we are bridging that gap and working to fulfill those scholarships.
For folks watching, how can they help out from just at home watching this?
You could go to foldsofhonorfriday.com, read all about the initiative with the PGA Tour and how we're representing our country and patriotism on the golf course through these events.
How's your golf game?
It's all right. Nothing to write home about.
Please tell us your dad's name.
His name is Chief Master Sergeant William Kendall.
We can't thank your dad enough for paying the ultimate sacrifice for us, and we just appreciate you taking some time with us, and we admire you for what you're doing, Christian. Thanks so much for the time, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Mike Stephenson there. He's been here since the very early morning hours of the Barracuda Championship, taking the early shift. So thank you to Mike for doing that for us. That is one of the cool things about the Barracuda Championship is all the different charitable efforts that this tournament has done to give back to the community over the 10-plus years it's been in existence. It's impressive.
It's definitely a staple of the PGA Tour. I think that's the one thing that separates it from LIV is whatever community these PGA Tour stops are in, they want to support those communities. They obviously have some national goals as well, like Folds of Honor. And, these guys will tell you they're out here. This is a job, but they're playing golf. We're talking about golf. The people who actually run this country, they're in the military. There are police officers, our firefighters, our teachers, our nurses, our doctors. Those are the people doing the real important work. So great to be able to honor them and keep them in our mind as we, get to have fun out here at the Barracuda, and the players get to make a lot of money if they come out here and play pretty well.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the show stepping away from golf again. We're going to talk about the upcoming Olympics. A lot of local stars getting ready to compete in Paris. We'll go through that coming up. All right, it's been a busy couple of weeks of golf. First, the American Century Champion, Celebrity Golf up in South Lake Tahoe. Now here at the Barracuda Championship, which continues on through Sunday here at Old Greenwood in Truckee. But, of course, we don't want to overshadow what's coming up 1 week from today, the opening ceremonies of the 2024 Summer Olympic Games in Paris, France. And our area figures to be very well represented, Chris, starting with maybe the most high-profile athlete that is going to be competing for Team USA, and that's Luke Hobson, the former Reno High swimmer who has been just a dominant force at the University of Texas. He is going to compete in a couple of very, very high-profile events in Paris.
Kind of used to just be a blip on the radar. Maybe we get one person. Now we can say we officially in Northern Nevada, we send a contingent to the Summer Olympics. We used to just be Winter Olympics. But, yeah, Luke Hobson, he's a medal favorite in the 200-meter freestyle. I don't know if he's a gold medal favorite, but he did medal in the World Championships in this very event earlier this year. He'll also be on the relay team for the freestyle. So, went out there and he won the U.S. Olympic trials. This guy, if all goes according to plan, he could be coming back with a gold medal or two. But certainly, your goal when you go over to the Olympics is you want to compete at the top of the world chain, and he's able to do that. I mean, he's been phenomenal at Texas, like you mentioned, and just super cool to see. Obviously, the best swimmer to ever come out of Northern Nevada, and this is kind of the last thing left unchecked. Can he get that Olympic medal?
Also, as we move down the list of athletes, we've got Paris Benegas, a Reed High School alum. She is part of the freestyle BMX Team USA, and actually now her second Olympic Games for USA.
Yeah, so I actually got the scoop on her name. So her mom was a big Aerosmith fan, so the Paris is actually after Joe Perry, the guitar player. Her brother's name is Tyler, after Steven Tyler. But yeah, I mean, she's amazing. She came up just shy, 4th place in the Olympics last year, one of 2 Americans who qualified for the Olympics in this specific event. The inaugural BMX freestyle was the last cycle. So, she's been through a lot. She tore her ACL between the last Olympics and this Olympics, but she did really, really well in the pre-Olympic qualifiers. And another one of these athletes who, if she goes and competes up to her ability, she will be coming back with a medal.
Pretty cool to see Moez Ashargi, a Wolfpack tennis star. He went to Africa and was able to qualify and will compete for his home country of Tunisia.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the draw. So it's 64 players. It's like a regular tournament. It's at Roland Garros where the French Open is held. Hopefully he doesn't get any Novak Djokovic or no Alcaraz in the first round. But this is great for him. He was a former Mountain West Player of the Year. I know he said he wouldn't be here without Nevada. We talked to him just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, that draw I'm going to be checking out as soon as it does come out.
Okay, in terms of alums in the area, we've got 2 from Reed High School. So Paris, we told you about in the BMX. Also, Gabby Williams, basketball star. She is going to compete for France.
Yeah, and that'll be cool. I mean, that's the home country. That's the hosting country. Her mom has some French roots, so that's why she's able to play for the French national team. You do see in Tokyo 2021 that she was able to win a bronze medal with Team France. And I think for these second-going Olympians, this is going to be a completely different experience. You go back to 2021, there weren't like big opening ceremonies. There wasn't an athlete village. There wasn't all of this stuff. So obviously they're focused on the competition, but all the surrounding stuff is really cool that they missed out on last year. So Gabby will be able to experience that and then try and get her team into the Olympic gold medal game, most likely against the U.S.
All right, we told you about Luke Hobson from Reno High School. Let's not forget about Stephanie Rovetti, who is a star on the track at Reno High School, played basketball at BYU and Fresno State from 2011-2015. She is one of the stars of the Team USA rugby team.
Talk about all-around athlete there. I mean, state
Amazing.
level as a high school track athlete, a couple of different schools. She was on a Sweet 16 team, women's basketball at BYU, and she has played internationally the last couple of years for the rugby team. So 2 from Reed, 2 from Reno, and very, very proud for both those schools to be able to say that.
Rounding out the list, a future University of Nevada athlete, Huska Batbayar, who is from Mongolia, set to join the program in the pool come this fall. But first, she'll represent her home country in the Olympics.
Yeah, 200-meter freestyle, so same event as Luke Hobson on the women's side. She actually competed in the 2021 Tokyo Games, so she's got that international experience, and it'll be real fun to see her come to Nevada. I mean, if she's already an Olympian-level athlete at the swimming pool, I think she'll do pretty well at the college level. We might be talking about a future NCAA champion as well, but before she gets that, over to Paris.
Also, Krista Palmer, who unfortunately came up just short of getting a repeat to the Olympics in diving, is still going to go to Paris. She's going to go and support her synchronization partner, Allison Gibson, who narrowly beat her out to get there. So I know Chris is excited to get to Paris, and we're going to talk to her before she heads off to the games. That wraps up our coverage here for the Barracuda Championship. Find more at News 4. We'll see you there tonight at 11.